Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem B'Kakadash. Double honors goes to the elders and apostles of GMS. Salutations to the hopeful elect. This is Arabiah coming at you with a quick lesson. I titled this lesson, Gmo Foods. I got it where I was looking at this skit where it's talking about the majority of the foods that we get here in Babylon, aka America, is GMO, you know? So you say to yourself, why wouldn't they just have us have natural foods? Why would they do that? You know, well, we know that the people that are in power, the so-called white man, Esau, you know, they want to keep a strong hold on society. You know, they want to be in control. They have a God complex. So everything that they do is to control the narrative. You know, it's control life, death is to control, you know. They're looking to stay in power forever. Let's get that. Let's go to Psalms chapter 49, verse 11. It says, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and that their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. So this is their agenda, is to keep sickness, is to keep to be able to keep sickness or to keep healing, you know, in their power. They can control everything, you know. So this is very interesting, what this young lady is talking about. I want you to take a look at it. I'm going to play the video now. Check this out.
GMO stands for genetically modified organism, and it refers to any living things whose DNA has been changed in a way that would not occur in nature. GMO crops are developed to be more disease resistant, less expensive to produce, or improve the way it looks, tastes, or grows. Some GMO crops have even been modified to improve their nutritional value, like increasing their vitamin content. There are actually only 13 commercially approved GMO crops in the US, but there are hundreds of ingredients derived from those crops.
Wow.
For example, over 90% of US corn is genetically modified, making products that are derived from that, like cornstarch and corn syrup, also genetically modified.
I gotta stop right there. I got a quick scripture. I want to go to Isaiah chapter 24, verse 4. It says, the earth mourneth and fade away. The world languish and fade away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. It says, the earth is also defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, they have changed the ordinance, and they've broken the everlasting covenant. That is so real because, you know, it just told you 90% of the corn is GMO. You know, what happened to us just growing it naturally? Why would they have to GMO the corn? You know, it's a perfect example of them transgressing the laws, changing the ordinance, and breaking the everlasting covenant. Everything that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, the Lord, made, he did for to keep the earth clean. And that's why we have illnesses, we have cancer, we have everything is defiled, the water, the air, you know, the food, everything is upside down. This is why, because of the people that are in power. And it's going to get worse. Go ahead and let this play.
In fact, about 70% of foods on supermarket shelves contain GM ingredients,
Wow.
especially packaged and processed foods. So, are GMOs bad? Well, hundreds of independent research studies have deemed GM foods safe to consume and nutritionally equivalent to their non-GM counterparts. The American Cancer Society has repeatedly stated that there's no evidence that links GMOs to increased cancer risk. In fact, all GMOs are rigorously tested and must meet the same safety standards as all other foods. The choice to consume GMOs is personal, but if you want to avoid them, I suggest buying organic, since certified organic products are not allowed to contain any genetically modified ingredients. Let's talk about GMOs. GMO stands for
Wow. I want to go to, let me see. Let me see if I got that. I'm going to go to Revelations chapter 11. Revelations chapter 11, verse 18. It says, and the nations were angry, and the wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that thou shalt give reward unto the servants and to the servants of the prophets And to the saints, and to them that fear thy name, small and great, and should destroy them that destroy the earth. So this is where Esau's headed, because this whole earth has been destroyed by the people that are in power. You know, I was just looking at this video where they were talking about, they said that the GMO didn't show any history or any information of it being connected with cancer. You know, I'm gonna go to Job chapter 13, verse 4. It says, but ye are forgers of lies, and ye are all physicians of no value. So we know, I mean, just common sense will tell you that the best fruit and the best vegetables will be the ones that are grown naturally, not GMO modified. So I'll leave that right there. But there's a agenda that is being sought out here through through Esau, through the people that are in power right now, and they know that they have a short time to get this agenda off the ground. So these are the measures that they're taking. You know, let's get that. Let's go to Revelations chapter 12, verse 12. It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. You know, these people know that they have a short time to get this done. You know, so this is why things are the way they are. That's why, what they say, over 70% of the oils, 90% of the food is all modified. There's no excuse for that, besides the obvious. You know, go ahead and let this play.
Genetically modified organism, and it refers to any living things whose DNA has been changed in a way that would not occur in nature. GMO crops are developed to be more disease resistant, less expensive to produce, or improve the way it looks.
Okay, that's been played already. We're gonna leave that right there. I got one more scripture. I want to go to Sirach chapter 14. I'm gonna start at verse 4. It says, he that gathered by defrauding his own soul gathered for others, that shall spend his that shall spend his goods righteously. Verse 5, it says, he that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall now take pleasure in his goods. There is none worse than a man that envieth himself, and that is a recompense of his wickedness. Verse 7 is the point. It says, if he doeth good, he do it unwillingly, and at last he will declare his wickedness. So this is Esau. Everything he does it for himself. You know, it's not to help out the good. It's to better himself, or to keep a stronghold for himself, or to do something for himself, for his gain. You know, verse 8, it says, an envious man have a wicked eye. He turneth away his face and despiseth men. Verse 9, it says, a covetous man's eye is not satisfied with his own portion, and his iniquity of the wicked dry up his soul. So this is all characteristics of the so-called white man, the man that's in power right now. Verse 10, it says, a wicked eye envieth his bread, and is a nigger at the table. So again, these are all attributes of so-called white man, you know, and this is where we at, you know, with these this food is causing, or shall I say, the GMO food is causing sickness, you know, and they just said they just told you that there's no test saying that anyone's getting sick off of this modified food. So you mean tell me that that's as good, or if not better, than the natural food or the organic food that's grown from the earth? No. Good. So anyway, I want to leave it right there. I want to give all praises and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rekakadash. Double honors goes to the elders and apostles of GMS. Salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom to next time, Lord willing. Shalom.